Hello and welcome everybody to the Ballers Across the Pond. Week 7 is in the books. Boys, there's a lot to talk about.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna have a rant at some point. I think you guys are anticipating this rant because I'm not a happy bunny. I really am not, but how are you boys doing? Because I'm sure you guys are a little bit better than I am doing right now.
Yeah, no, I'm good. It's been like an eventful week in the league. A lot of interesting games, interesting performances, upsets, teams sort of coming back to life, other teams sinking deeper into failure. But it's definitely like an interesting week. And there's a lot of stuff that's happened. So I can't wait to get into it, man.
Peter's just riding the wave,
Yeah.
right? You're just riding. You've just been riding the wave because obviously his team's not doing so well. So you're just kind of like,
What's going
all
to plan?
right, yeah, everything's going all right.
The Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going like how we want it to go. Because right now we're in a position of we have no playoff aspirations. So this year's kind of ride the wave, be competitive, and make sure that at the end of the year you win. But we don't want to win too much. Just put it that way. We want to win some, but not a lot.
Right, we're gonna dive right in because we've got a lot to talk about. First of all, we're going to talk about injury news and just general news of the NFL at the moment. And first of all, Brock Purdy. So we're going to talk about the game a little bit later on, but he's currently in the concussion protocol. Now, nobody in the last year has gone into concussion protocol after a game and played the next week. So he's not playing this week. It is guaranteed, like, there's no chance he plays this week, as far as I'm concerned. Now, that's going to have that means Sam Darnold's going to have to play. We'll talk about, obviously, we're going to talk about the actual game this week, the game that just happened this week in a little bit, and then we're going to talk about the Week 8 matchup as well. So just want to precursor all of that with that. Other news coming out of the Miami Dolphins today is Tyreek has a potential injury. Now, he went into the blue medical tent and then came back into the game this week. Whether or not it's something to do with that, the details are a little bit murky at the moment. There's not a lot of information on that, so it's more of just keep your eyes peeled and see what happens. Fantasy players, like me, who have Tyreek Hill, you're going to be in mourning.
I mean, you've definitely benefited from him throughout the whole season. I'm sure 1 week of him not being there. It's not more than 1 week.
The Star Wars meme. More.
You need more. No, I mean, even if he's out, let's just hope it's only a week. But he's such a big part of their offense. He is their most valuable player. So it's basically a case of you want him back out there as soon as possible. Let's just hope it's nothing too serious.
I hope it's not. But I want him to be perfectly fine. It's all smoke and mirrors. Nothing to do with fantasy. I want him to go for 2K. I want this record.
Yeah,
I need him playing.
Yeah, it's
I want him for MVP.
I mean,
he's on that roll.
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, it took a bit of a hit last week, but it's still doable with his current projection. So I mean, we'll see more as the week progresses. I mean, it all comes down to the status on Friday and most likely Saturday, because normally when they release the final injury list on Friday or Saturday morning, that decides whether if it says questionable, he's playing. If that status,
it could be a game time decision. It could be testing him out, right? It could be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Peter, speaking of somebody, so Tyreek didn't practice today, but somebody that you really like did practice fully today. And he's your quarterback.
Yeah.
How gassed
That's
are
my
you?
quarterback.
How gassed are you
Hey,
right now?
I'm excited. My excitement is on 100. I mean, when I got that alert, when I checked Twitter and I
I
saw
can hear. I can
the
hear it in your
update,
voice, right? I can hear it in your
like
voice right now.
I was so excited that my wife was like, "Oh, you never get this excited when I tell you something. You get excited when you hear news about Kyler Murray," and I'm like, "Yeah, you got me there. Like, I gotta be excited." So it even made my wife jealous at how much excited I was that Kyler was a full participant in training this week. So yeah, so I mean, it's a bit surprising for Cardinals fans as well because we thought the earliest he'll
It
come
was,
back is week 10, but being
so it's
upgraded to
2 weeks
full
ahead of
participant.
schedule. Yeah.
So it seems like he's ahead of schedule. I mean, it also makes me think that he was probably very ahead of schedule at the beginning of the season. Not quite ready to. I think he was ahead, but I think the
But
team
you guys
downplayed
want,
it a lot.
and you guys wanted to tank a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that plays into it because I think if they really wanted to, he could have come back a bit earlier. But I think, and I like how the team played it. They sort of like slow played him coming back because they put him on pup to start the season, which slow played a lot of things. People thinking he won't come back to like week 10, but when a starting quarterback of Kyler's caliber and the things that he's done in the league is full participant, and if he's full participant all the way to Friday, it would be hard for them to say that he's out for the game. I think the fans will be confused. When full participant starts coming, it means that he might be in line to start this week. But we'll find out on Friday. Um, Me personally, I would have held him out till week 10 against Atlanta. But but then also Kyler is very competitive though, because the one thing that Kyler has always had going for him is that he's so competitive to play the game. So sometimes you can't really hold him out forever. So if he's good to go against the Ravens, hey, well, my tough defense. I just hope he's healthy at the end of that game. But hey, I'm
Yeah, I
excited to
think
have him back because last week when we played the Seahawks, I felt like if Kyler played that game, we had a chance to have won it because Dolphs missed some throws that typically Kyler would have made.
yeah, I think Kyler wants to be out there. Like you said, he's really competitive. So I don't think he's not. I mean, the game plan's the game plan, and I think they've tried their best to sort of
It's gonna
tank and
it's gonna
purposely
be. But do
drop
you know
the
what
first
Dobbs
few
can do?
games. But
What I've
he's
been
looking
really
to win.
surprised. Do you know
Yeah.
what? He's been running over dudes. It's been
Yeah,
fun to see. It's been fun to see that because
Yeah.
there's a little bit of reckless
yeah,
abandonment about him. But
yeah. And also
Yeah, Josh
when
Dobbs
I
been
saw his
playing.
runs last week, his physiques, his runs is different to Kyler. Like last year when he had the Russian touchdown he had last week against the Seahawks, I said that is like you're not gonna stop me. I'm gonna bounce off people, bounce off tackles, and then I went back and watched some of Kyler's touchdown runs. I'm like, if it was Kyler, they would not even touch him. You
Yeah.
see, because so Dobbs does it with a bit of physicality, and Kyler is just like pure speed. You're not gonna touch me.
Yeah.
But one thing that I will be interested to see is how Kyler's speed is gonna be coming back off and his willingness to run, because as we've seen with Dobbs, this offense this season, there's been a couple of read option in the offense that Dobbs have done really well on. So you would imagine Kyler would do even better because he's used to those sort of plays. So it will be interesting to see if Kyler does come back this week against the Ravens, the sort of game plan he will have and how well he will play in his first game back. That will
Yeah.
be interesting. But
I,
hey, I'm
I
excited to have him back, man.
I can see him using his legs. Well, I can't see him purposely sort of using his legs first game out. Like if it is, it's mainly to escape pressure. But then
so
he's looking to get rid of the ball. I
who's the
don't think they'll do any designed
first
run
game
plays.
is again? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about it. It's against the Ravens. So
Yep.
he's going to have to use his legs.
Yeah,
He's not going to
Yeah.
have a choice. He's not
Yeah,
going to have a choice.
but it's gonna be clear cut like running lanes. So he's available. He's
Or
just
it's
gonna
just getting out of bounds kind of thing. Just
getting out of bounds. He's not looking to move the ball down the field with his legs necessarily. He's just looking to sort of get what he can get, 5-10 yards, get out of bounds, slide, keep himself upright.
All right. Other news. So news from the Lions: Marvin Jones It's effectively a mutual release because he said he was stepping away from the team and then they released him. So there must have been kind of a mutual agreement between stepping away from the team for family reasons. So hopefully those solve themselves and he's able to get back to football at some point. No need to actually talk about that in any depth. But now, a couple of arrests for wide receivers in the league. Chris Olave was arrested for reckless operation of a vehicle. He was speeding well over the limit. Well over the limit. And have you guys seen the body cam footage?
No, I haven't.
He tried to pull the I'm a player for the Saints card, and the police officer's like, and
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a bonehead thing to do.
But you know what?
That's gonna annoy the authorities even more, and they're gonna be like,
but you know what?
Sometimes it might work though.
But you know what I really will say?
Fan.
So Chris Olave has been chastised a little bit this season for giving up on routes, right? And that could stand for like giving up on routes. There was clearly an issue. There's been issues with Carr, and now he's getting arrested for speeding. Whatever. Kid's got to cut it out.
They need I know you've got Michael. What's his name?
Thomas.
Michael Thomas in that locker room, but they need to get a veteran receiver in there that's going to teach these guys how to do it. Because Olave came in, he had an amazing rookie season. He's played really well. I kind of feel as though he's feeling himself a bit too much. Like he's
he's not playing that well to
he's
feel
not
himself.
Playing that well. I know, but if you look at the people above him, you know, you have Michael Thomas in there. Is he setting like it? He's obviously changed.
We need to call him by his real his name.
And that is
Slant Thomas.
Lamp Thomas.
Slant Thomas.
Slant Thomas. All right.
Yeah.
So you need someone. I think if I'm the Saints right now, I perhaps get a savvy wide receiver in that room that's gonna, how can I say, set an example and teach these guys how to work. Because now.
But they've got a savvy wide receiver, Michael Thomas, though. Like
that is the savvy wide receiver. But I think what it is
it's setting an example, like a veteran presence. I mean, Michael Thomas is that guy, but he's had issues. You know, like he's not like
he hasn't had issues with the law.
He hasn't.
His issue was
with the law, but I'm saying
his issue with the team.
So
injury related, effort related, etc. And that stuff trickles down because if you see that on your team,
so
you're gonna be like, well, if he can be like that, then I can be like that. And it trickles down through your receivers.
It's a warning, right? It's a warning. This is not he's a bum or it's just come on, like he needs wide receivers. It's just you need to start.
You've got to be better.
You know, like doing things. Although there are some dark things because I was like, what happens to Derek Carr wide receivers at the moment? Because this is 2 instances. The other instance was a little bit more bad, but come on.
Yep. I mean, he literally has an example of other receivers that have gone through this. Henry Ruggs, you know, he had a really like the example are there.
That's the more extreme. That's the more extreme. No. I was making comments like this. Is this what playing with Derek Carr causes to happen to you? You end up speeding.
You end up speeding. Well, yeah. I see what you did there, but yeah,
Derek Carr is so slow with the balls. They think they need to be fast. That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, his delivery is a bit slow, so they're not getting out.
I don't think that's the issue, though.
What I'm saying, from an organizational standpoint, the Saints just need to put their foot down on this right now because we're starting to see this happen. The Saints as a team right now, especially on offense, is sputtering really badly. They're losing their discipline, and it seems like they need that sort of veteran, hard work, blue collar mentality there. And we haven't seen it.
What were
seen it.
we
What's
were
their running back
expecting
up to as well?
we were expecting the Saints to be the favourites this season because they're of their division, right?
Mhm.
Derek Carr, the most established quarterback in that division. It's not saying much. And
Mhm.
I just don't see it. But all right, let's move on.
So quickly, here's the thing. My last 2 cents on this is that what happened to the slants to Michael Thomas?
They started doing other routes to him, and I don't understand why they do other ones to him because he's Slant Thomas.
If he down, 1st and 9, 1st and 10, line him up, round slant. Nobody's catching that ball. Why are they not doing that? It's simple. His name's Slant Thomas. You throw the slant, you get a first down.
All right. Justin Ross, Chiefs wide receiver, arrested for misdemeanor domestic violence. It's not a good trend. Cut it out. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh.
Speaking of misdemeanors, from off the field to on the field, Kareem Jackson suspended for 4 games for not getting in his skull that he's not supposed to aim for the skull. He's had 3 helmet-to-helmet hits this season. This week just gone, he had he got ejected again. This is becoming a trend.
Yeah, no, I mean,
you can't be doing this. You're putting other people's lives, other people's jobs in jeopardy just from your reckless abandonment.
He's one of those guys that just got caught in the middle as far as he's been in the league a while. Like, he's 35 years of age. He's not going to adapt. Like, this is it. Like I said, I don't think he's got that.
But this is more recent than anything else. That's the thing.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that he's pretty much set in his ways. He's pretty much set in his ways right now. So I don't think he's going to make that change this late in his career. Like, realistically, 35. It's not like he's some Pro Bowl safety. So he's probably maybe another 2 more years in the league if he sort of moves on to like any other team. But I think he's set in his ways, and it's kind of dangerous right now because he's out there and he's probably going to make this play again. It's most likely going to happen again. I would not be surprised.
If he does it again, he will be suspended for the rest of the season.
Yeah. If this was like a young player, like 22, 23, I'd be shocked because right now they're taught to tackle differently, and I think maybe we'll touch on it later on, but the drag and drop tackle right now, that's potentially going to be removed.
That cannot be removed.
But we've been hearing
that's rugby technique.
That's literally as safe as you can get, right? But all I'm saying with Kareem Jackson is he's essentially a dinosaur in the league. No offense to him.
The really weird thing is he's literally launching for the helmet, and it's just got to stop. Well, he's going to stop because he's not going to play for 4 weeks. So
yeah, and it's most likely going to happen again. Sadly, I think personally, and then that will probably be it. If he gets a year suspension.
No. When I say if he does it again, he'll be out for the rest of the season. He'll be done. He'll have like an 8 game. They'll double it up.
What I'm saying is if that happens, I can see him just walking away from the game.
Now moving on to trade news. Well, how does Kevin Byard, 2-time first team All Pro, go for a 4th, a 6th, and Terrell Edmonds going the other direction? Because the Eagles are getting richer, and if you look at the trades between the Titans and the Eagles, AJ Brown going in that direction, them picking Treylon Burks, and then the next year, this trade happening. You're just fleecing them now, aren't you?
I think we built that relationship there. Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing acquisition. I've been saying constantly that the tail end, the back end of our defense is what is perhaps leading to these random games where we just get obliterated down the field. Like Chauncey Gardner was a difference maker. And to be honest, it was between him and Slay. One of them was going to go. Bradbury's playing for cheap, so we were always going to keep him. But it was one of those guys had to go, and we obviously chose Slay. And I think if we could keep both, we would have. But this is like a step in the right direction. And what you find as well is it's teams that are still aggressive, even when they have a good roster. It shows that they're trying to win, and this might pay dividends later on. Like we saw San Fran last year when they acquired McCaffrey. They already had a good team. You know, they had those pieces there, but they're still trying to get
richer,
better,
effectively.
get richer, get better. And like I'm saying, this might pay dividends. So he might make a really big play in the playoffs late in the season. You know, that sort of puts us over the top. So I'm happy with this acquisition. Reed Blankenship, who's currently dealing with injury, I think this was a move that they had to make. I just didn't think that they'd get a player of the caliber of Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd expect a move like this, but just not to get that kind of player. So that's I'm over the moon. It can only bode well, you know. And we've also got our young rookie out there, Eli. You know, the new Eli Ricks. Yeah, we've been he's playing really well, so that's also something that we can build on. And he's a rookie for us.
A good vet presence as well to help him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so this is what it's about. So now I think all the levels of our defense are where they need to be in terms of personnel and talent.
Well, I think everybody wants to have that first level because it's disgusting. Yeah. All right. Speaking of a defender, he's gonna
quick one, 1 second. By the way, I'm not happy with that trade. No,
of course you're not happy because it's ridiculous and they're getting richer. I know.
Yeah, it's ridiculous in the sense that Harry Roseman just committed a crime. He took advantage of a rookie GM, right, and got that deal. If I'm the Titans owner, I'm firing Ron Carlton right now.
Although
you don't trade away an All-Pro safety for 4th round and 6th round picks. Come on,
and Terrell Edmonds in the other direction.
Well, Edmonds can kind of hold the fort.
It doesn't matter. Terrell Edmonds is not. Listen, there's an All-Pro safety.
Now,
minimum.
There are
minimum. You need a 2nd or 3rd round pick.
The rumors are that they are.
I ain't getting a 2nd for an All-Pro safety. Are you sure?
Apparently, they're willing to trade Derrick Henry away.
You know what?
And
like, you have to understand. Yeah, D-Hop as well. I've been hearing talks like he could be out there too. Because look, Tennessee now
Titans are tanking.
Aren't really going anywhere. They've drafted
two quarterbacks in the last 2 years. Do you know where D-Hop should come?
Those picks are wasted.
I think D-Hop should come to the Colts because then he can he can finish, and then at some point he's got to go to the Jags because he needs to finish the AFC South. Tick them all off. But in all seriousness, no, it's more of a joke than a shout because we've got a big body receiver already.
He's going to end up in Dallas. I can see that.
But they're saying the Chiefs. They're saying the Chiefs. No, because I think the Chiefs could do with a guy like him, right?
Giants
aren't going anywhere, so
yeah, but they need to.
He is a Giant. That's what it is. All right, I need us to move on. Nick Bolton is apparently going to miss 2 months with a wrist injury. Now that Bolton has an impact on that Chiefs defense. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know how much of an impact that's going to have because I think obviously Chris Jones is the most important piece on that defensive side, but from a linebacking perspective, he's actually played pretty well. So see how it actually shakes out and how it's going to impact the Chiefs on the defensive side of the ball. But Chiefs offensively are ridiculous, and we're going to talk about one of their pieces later on. All right, first game of last week that we need to talk about is the ref show. Because we weren't watching
Yeah.
NFL Red Zone last week. We were watching NFL Red Zone. And we know which game we're talking about. Me, as a Colts fan, extremely annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because this game should have been sewn up. And I'm not saying it's because of Gardner Minshew throwing 3 picks. Or Myles Garrett and his reckless abandonment, tearing apart the offensive line at times.
He's matched Reggie White. Now
It wasn't any of that, because this game was over and done with. Fumble, and then there's a flag that happens after he's fumbled the ball, and it's been recovered, and the flag comes out, and it goes, illegal contact. Wide receiver pushes off the cornerback, and he gives illegal contact. And we're like, all right, we should have had the ball, we would have been kneeling, that would have been the end of the game. Now we've got a first down to deal with. Next play, what happens? Ball sails over the head of the wide receiver. Defensive pass interference. Victor Wembanyama wouldn't have even caught that ball. He's 7 foot a million. No receiver on the planet would have caught that ball.
Yeah, I actually sort of disputed this because I was looking at the shots, and to me, it was one of those things where I think I did actually argue that he could have caught it, but it would have been well out of bounds by the time. He wouldn't have been able to get his feet inbound.
Do you know who was more likely to catch that? The guy in first row. Like, that is ridiculous. Now, did you hear what Jim Irsay had to say on Twitter? Or X, as it's now called.
Yep. What
he
did he
said,
say?
The NFL admitted fault. Now, none of the team officials ever step out of line and say the officials have admitted that they were wrong. They never say it in public, and he has. Now, Jim Irsay was the only owner to talk about Dan Snyder.
Yep. He's very ballsy, Jim Irsay, like he'll speak his mind.
This is a new... He's always spoke his mind, but he's now speaking his mind even more. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they completely and utterly decided the outcome of this game. When you have 2 egregious errors on consecutive plays in the last 2 minutes, that calls into question the integrity, but also calls into question, should penalties in the last 2 minutes be reviewable by the league? When you are literally deciding the action, like you are literally deciding the game.
Yeah, that's never good. You never
purely in the
want
last 2 minutes. Purely in the last 2 minutes of the game, not even the last 2 minutes of the last 2 minutes of the game only.
Yeah, you never want the refs to sort of be the. If the refs make a call and it's like, yeah, that's the game, I can walk out of the stadium now. That's not how you want a game to end. And like, there's been a huge argument. Like, a lot of the refs in the league are part-time. That it's still not like
everyone is talking for them to be like they need to be full-time. It's ridiculous that they're not. What kind of profession? What kind of billion-dollar industry doesn't have the referees of that league full-time?
Full-time, yeah.
Multi-billion dollars.
It's true.
It's asinine. It's completely and utterly asinine. Now, this wasn't the only game that there was a ref howler. The Rams Steelers game ended on a bad spot. And because it was the wrong side of the 2-minute warning, and the Rams had no timeouts left, they couldn't challenge it. The spot was like 2 yards away from where it should have been. They would have got a first down, instead they got a turnover and downs, and they kneeled the game out. You can't be doing that. Especially when you can see it in live action. Spots, when it's like a couple of yards off.
Yep.
That's just...
That shouldn't be happening.
That shouldn't be happening.
Shouldn't be happening. Yeah, you literally have someone whose job it is to stand in line with the ball and be like, down here. And for him to get it wrong, like, sometimes it's okay to admit, like, you know, the NFL is usually fairly good with this. Like, if they see something bad, then they usually overturn and go back. But
yeah, they actually they have like, you know, the
like this,
sky
like,
judge, you know, certain things like catch it.
That spot is completely off. Can you please redo it? It's at the 32. Can you just redo it again? And then, you know, they'll stop the play and they'll be like, the, you know, previous play, respot the ball, repeat for first down. But I mean, you'd like to think that this is not like a symptom of things to come. I hope that this is as bad as it gets this season and things.
Do you know why I don't think it's going to get any better? And I remember the Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. They refed it all the way. They refed it like this, all the way up to the end. And then in the last 30 seconds, they refed it differently. Giving the PI, the phantom PI. On Cooper Kupp. Basically winning the Rams the Super Bowl.
Essentially,
You can't, like... this is why I kind of agree with her. Say you've got to, like, in critical plays, you've got to review it.
Yeah. If it decides the game, then you have to.
If it decides the game, you've got... if it's like... This is where, the clear and obvious... The ball clearly can't be caught for a PI. That's not subjective. That's not really subjective. If the ball was, like, it's 12 irrelevant. Feet in the air. But Peter, you stayed a little bit silent. I'm wondering what your take is on this, because I see a little smirk. And
my take is that you're right and you're not. And did he touch him? That's the question.
Did who touch him? It doesn't matter.
Did the Colts defender touch?
If the ball is in the air,
touch him when the ball was in the air,
but the ball wasn't catchable, so it doesn't matter.
No, but was it in the air?
Yeah, the ball was in the air, so it's not illegal contact. So it
Did
only can be passing
before the ball got into the vicinity.
Technically, it was never in his vicinity because it was 12 feet in the air.
Was it heading that way?
It literally flew over his head.
It was going that way.
It went that way and literally just... And it landed, like, I would say, a foot before, like, the wall.
Like this.
See, in that instance, right? No, wait. In that instance, it looks like... It's kind of like you can chuck it as Minshew was throwing it away, basically. He was just throwing the ball away.
Yeah, but right? this is PJ Walker. Like, because PJ...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he was throwing away, so he shouldn't have been caught. PJ Walker. You classify that as throwing away, as in like.
Well, no, he wasn't throwing it away. That was him aiming for the receiver, but he overthrew him by so far.
But when they class it as uncatchable, uncatchable means that it's not in the receiver's vicinity for the receiver to make a play on.
No, uncatchable is whether he can have any chance of getting it inbounds. Any chance.
And so.
And he had zero chance.
This is what I argued before. I argued that he could have actually caught that ball, but if he
was a foot taller.
Yeah, but even then, half of his body was already out of bounds. His feet weren't on the ground, and half of his body was already out of bounds. So even if he'd caught it, he would have caught it out of bounds. My thing here, Dilly, is that this play's happened before. But it's the magnitude of the play. It's decided the game, and that's what people don't want.
You know what's really annoying is it's the play, but it's the play after having a really bad. It's not that.
Yeah.
Like where the illegal contact, you see the receiver like trying to swim.
Yep.
You know, like sometimes they try and swim the corner. He swam the corner, but kind of extended his arm and then got illegal contact. You can't engage in a swim and then get illegal contact.
I mean that's clearly a bit of a push off from the receiver anyway. When
but the ball, no, it can't be a pass interference because there was never a pass because he fumbled it.
Okay. So here's my thing, right? So I guess I get the errors that the referees get wrong, and in terms of having full-time officials, why don't the refs just go on strike and just stick to their guns down until we get full-time, contracts to be full-time NFL refs? We're not coming back
because they would just replace them with college refs because that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
No, but I remember the refs did strike a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly when, and they brought in replacement refs. It was horrible, and they went and struck some kind of deal with them, and they came back. But this time, what I mean is that stick to your guns, as in you guys need to band together.
Do better as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I get that do better.
But paying them full time won't.
That's on the league.
That won't automatically fix the problem, right?
No, but here's the thing, though.
Correct. If you're paying the same person to do the same job, but just paying him to do it for longer,
if you do that, then that's their craft. It's no longer.
There's training and things like that. I understand
that's the point I was going to allude to. If you do that, they can dedicate themselves to really train and get better, because that's all they're focusing their attention on.
Now, if they don't get better. Say they're making full time and they don't get better, then we've got a problem. All right,
there was a huge problem. Yeah,
I'm going to move us on.
The replacement refs got a standing ovation that week. They came they came back.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Standing ovation. People were clapping.
Was bad. All right. Game 2 of our discussion: Eagles, Miami, Dolphins.
Yep.
This was touted as the game of the week. And what were your thoughts on this one, Will? Because Miami, you kept a lid on them pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, Miami still had plays, but I think we were able to pull away. This was more of what we are.
Or just because they couldn't run the ball on you?
Yep, that's correct. AJ Brown had an amazing game, 10 receptions for 137 and a TD. He really went off and showed just how good he is. And I think there's one play where he literally caught the ball. It just phased through 2 defenders and caught an impossible pass. So that was amazing to see. Jalen Hurts played well. 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but we were still able to overcome that. This just goes to show what happened last week was almost like I said, these games happen, but it was how our team was able to sort of deal with it. We didn't panic, we didn't overreact, and I think we went into the locker room and we had a real sit down. I think Jalen Hurts obviously addressed the whole team and said, we can't let this happen again. We need to play better. If we're going to lose a game, we're going to lose a game, just not like that. So this was really good to see. Spread the ball around. Our defense played really well. Josh Sweat got 2 sacks. We got Nolan Smith, rookie. He got he got on the sack board, and it's really good to see. So I think going forward, we're slowly going to put him in there, and he's going to add that extra speed at pass rushing from the linebacker position.
Do you know what? Do you know what was a killer in this game?
Yep.
That Tua interception.
Mm-hmm.
By Darius Slay.
Yep.
That. Especially being intercepted in the end zone.
Yeah, they were working a really good drive, and then right at the end it gets snatched
and then
away.
They take it, and then you guys take it down the other end and score.
Yep.
And it's a 14-point game.
Yeah,
especially in the fourth quarter. That's pretty much a clutch play. That was the main one.
Yeah, I mean, we were able to keep Tyreek and Jalen Waddle under wraps.
Tyreek did get 88 yards.
Under 100.
Yeah.
But you know what everyone is saying? Eli, our rookie corner, was able to go 1-to-1 with Tyreek. So everyone in Philadelphia is getting excited. But let's be real, it's very much like a scheme. we were able to apply pressure in the front. Like I said, we got 3 sacks on the day. So that obviously helped out a lot. So obviously the front of our defense was able to help out the back end. Overall, it was a good performance. You know, Miami didn't play horrendously bad. We were just able to take advantage of their mistakes, and we didn't make as many errors.
I think if you look at Raheem Mostert, he had 9 carries for 45 yards.
Yeah.
Makes it look like it's a lot, but one of those was it was 21 yarder. So the other 8 carries went for like 23 yards.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert's great, but I've heard that they're looking for
you literally just
getting another back.
No, they've just got to have HM back.
Yeah.
Once he comes back, then they've got the speed demons, and they've got Jeff Wilson as well coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So full on 49ers former style over there. Any thoughts on the game from you, Peter? Because Eagles look good. They didn't look brilliant, but they look good enough.
Yeah, they did. And I think they proved, and if we know the NFL is a copycat league, they showed a way that you can slow down the Miami offense. You know,
is that
then the question mark is,
have you got a defensive line to be able to do that?
That's what I was about to say. Like, not everybody who's got a personality the Eagles have to be able to put pressure. I think the key is that the Eagles had won the battle in the trenches, as in, like, if you can put enough pressure and affect some of the throws that Tua makes, that's gonna go a long way into helping them win. And I think this is the first time I've seen Jalen Hurts play the best this season, as in, like, his performance so far is probably his best one of the season since the season started. Although I think what I'd like to see going forward is that can he have, you know, a mistake-free game for the next couple of games, because he's up there in terms of interceptions, and you don't want those numbers to start hitting into higher double figures as the season progresses. So he got to do a better job of taking care of the football.
Let's see how the injury situation with regards to Tyreek, because if he misses any time, it's a real problem, I think, for the Dolphins. Because he's been so dominant on their offense that players like Waddle will have to really show up in there instead. All right, now let's move on to the 49ers losing to Kirk Cousins in prime time. Is that a sackable offence? Peter, is that a sackable offence? No, that's not the actual question. But should Niners fans be concerned because it's 2 losses in a row?
I think they should, because these are 2 losses in games that they were expected to win or highly favored to win. People are starting to look at the fact that against the Browns they lost Debo and CMC during the game.
Well, CMC played this week and he looked magnific.
Yeah, but they're gonna say that that Debo didn't play the game. But then also, I mean, I think when I look at the game, I'm not sure about the box score. How many times did CMC get a ball rushing?
15 carries for 45.
They didn't run it that great.
Here's the thing whereby sometimes I go back to coaches like being enamored with sometimes of the quarterbacks a bit, right? So here's the thing, like, okay, so the Minnesota run the football 10 plus 8
80,
plus
19
1 plus 2.
Yeah,
so they rushed the ball 21 times.
Yeah.
And the 49ers rushed the ball more. They gained 3 yards a clip, 50 for 45. But I feel like they should have rushed the ball more. I mean, CMC can carry the ball 20, maybe 25. It can be a workhorse when you need him to be in a particular game. So in this game, maybe the Niners should have relied a little bit more on the run game instead of the passing game.
And how they coughed up the ball once as well.
Yep. Well, 2 interceptions.
Exactly. So
those were killers.
So they should have.
Yep.
Yeah, those were killer INTs. So Niners fans should have a bit of a worry because it's back-to-back losses. But I think they've got enough talent on that team to figure it out and get back on a winning track starting with this week. I think particularly of interest is what Fred Warner said after the game, which was we got to start knuckle down and start grinding and winning some of these games ugly. We might have to get a couple of ugly wins along the way.
If we talk about, so if Purdy's out, it's going to be a Sam Darnold game. So we'll talk about that game in a little bit. But that brings its whole set of questions. So they may have to lean on the run game a little bit more. Vikings, though, they managed to get a win without JJ. And it was off the back of a wide receiver, a young man called Jordan Addison. But if you look at Brandon Powell, 64 yards receiving. Jordan Addison, 123 yards receiving. Hawkinson, 86 yards receiving. They threw the ball 45 times. And
I mean, they lean heavily on the passing game. It shows probably the 49ers secondary might have a little bit of issues to deal with.
And Cam Akers had a nice catch as well.
Yep. And then also, a very cool story is the Minnesota Vikings DB, Cameron Bynum, who's from the Philippines, and he talked about the work that he does in the Philippines in post-game interview. And I think I'd like to give a shout out to the young man for the good work that he's doing for his people back home and all the philanthropic efforts. He shows that he's a good dude. And it's not just about football, it's about bringing awareness and things like that to the game of football. And sort of like publicizing internationally to get more people involved in the game worldwide. So shout out to him for that.
Well, definitely with flag football being in the Olympics, that'll have an impact on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But
could the Vikings turn the tide?
I would say the next 4 games look winnable for them, so that they could probably maybe go on a run. But I think what a lot of people fail to understand is Jordan Addison is a first-round pick. People should forget that. He was drafted in the first round for a reason.
And he's a baller.
True, yeah.
And he's a baller.
And people seem to forget that.
They seem to know their wide receivers in Minnesota because they've drafted 2 guys who they're pretty decent.
Yeah. I mean, historically, the Vikings have been great at drafting receivers, and Steelers too.
Yeah, but Steelers can't throw the ball, so that's their problem, really. All right.
Pickett will come, Rob. Come on now.
Let's move on to a team that lost to an abysmal team, and that is the Buffalo Bills. How do we fix the Buffalo Bills? Because I saw them live. Something didn't seem right. They sputtered. They lost to the Jags. Now they lost to Mac Jones. And they lost badly.
Yeah, that's a hard one to swallow. I think that the Buffalo Bills are turning into that sort of Jekyll and Hyde team now. We were saying that, they've had their stutters earlier in this season, but they'll figure things out and will turn into the contender we expect them to be, but that might not happen now. They seem to be inconsistent offensively. I don't know how to fix it, because any minute they can figure it out, any game they can figure it out, and then
do you know what it is?
A lot of points and play well.
So you look at Josh Allen's numbers: 27-41, 265 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 touchdown rushing on the game, and a fumble. So he lost the ball twice in this game. But you look at his main 2 receivers, Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. Diggs, 50% catch rate, right? He targeted 12 times, caught 6. Gabe Davis, he targeted him 5 times, caught once for 6 yards. Can't be happening against a team this bad. And the Patriots had their way with them, because you look at Ramondre, he was not a lot of carries, but ran the ball at a good clip. 9 for 34. Mac Jones, when he was 25 for 30.
Yeah,
against this Bills defense.
if you can make Mac Jones look good and make his receivers look good, Kendrick Bourne, Kendrick Bourne's actually fairly
He's
good
actually
player, but
he's been playing well of late. Actually, he's the only person that's like, when I say well, like he's been the most reliable receiver of theirs for a little while, but that's not saying much. But I really don't know like how the Bills like sort themselves out, because they seem to be good one week and then terrible the next. There were 8-point favorites in a game that was expected to have 40 points total.
But here's the thing. I think the Patriots, especially Mac Jones, in this game sort of like answered the pressure on him, because think about it, he's played all for the past couple of weeks. There were mention of his potentially going to be replaced very soon, and you got to give him credit that he stepped up in this game and he plays smart football. His numbers sound like world beaters. 25 of 30 is very good completion rate. 272, 2 touchdowns means that he played within the scope of the offense, and maybe he might be turning the corner. Maybe he stands realize that maybe do less is more. As that could be the case with him.
He's not turning the corner
as time goes on.
They'll go back to being rubbish.
I'm just saying. I'm just we'll see in the next game.
I didn't say he will go. I said they will go back to being rubbish, because I think the issue with the Patriots is that there's just divisional games are weird, right?
Yes, they are. But here's the thing, though. Since J.C. Jackson came back, the defense is starting to improve. J.C. Jackson is starting to return to the old J.C. Jackson since he's been in that system. So maybe the Patriot system enhances whatever skills that J.C. Jackson has. So let's see how they go going forward. Now with the Bills, the reason why they had the Jekyll and Hyde performance is that they've got a couple of injuries defensively that people are not taking notice of. They lost
Matt Milano,
the super linebacker, Matt Milano.
I saw that in person.
For the rest of the season. That was a huge injury for them. They also lost Shavarius Ward, who's one of their top corners on their team. He's probably their cornerback one. So they have lost a couple of players within on the defensive side of the ball. Like Gesicki's touchdown, for instance. Typically, Milano will be covering that route. And Milano is a very good
Shavarius Ward is the 49ers.
No, I'm talking about White. Tre'Davious White. Yeah. Tre'Davious White. Yeah. That's what I was talking about. They lost him. So that's a big dent to their second, because he was their cornerback one to take on some of these receivers. And also Matt Milano is a very good coverage linebacker. Typically on that game winning pass that Mac Jones threw for the to win the game, typically Milano could have been covering that and could have prevented that from happening. So and as bad as the Bills offense hasn't been, and they haven't hit the heights, they had the lead going into that final drive by the Patriots. But then a critical part of, to sum it all up, is one thing that the Bills need to do a better job of is, when it comes to winning games late, take time off the clock. They like to score too fast. I mean, in the playoffs, for example, like against the Chiefs a couple of years ago, or was it last season, they scored way too quick. Gave Mahomes 40 seconds and he won the game.
No, 13,
Learn
to
take time off the clock. That's what I say. Take time off the clock and win. That's one of the things that the Bills need to do a better job of.
Although one thing I would say is the current Chiefs definitely couldn't do what that Chiefs team do, because they don't have Tyreek. The only reason they could have done that is because they had Tyreek. All right.
Hardyman's back in Kansas City.
But he's not Tyreek. That's
not Tyreek, but
did they win? They won the Super Bowl last year without Tyreek, though.
Yeah, because they've now got defense. But defense doesn't play offense. All right, I'm going to move this on. The Ravens, are they finally hitting stride? Because they put it on the Detroit Lions. They really put it on. And what I said about the Ravens, about having seen them in person, was between the 20s, they were good, right? And then it all seemed to fall apart. Have they just figured it out, or was it just a game where everything seemed to go right?
This is one game. I think we need more of these types of games from them to really say that they've arrived. I think this is one of those games. I didn't expect Detroit to lose in the manner that they did. But
Do you know what
every so often
they
you get those.
really missed?
Yeah,
Do you know who they really missed? David Montgomery and that bruising
yeah.
style.
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of those things where sometimes you head into a game as the favorite and the other team has your number. You know, they just called the perfect game defensively to slow down Detroit. You know, and Detroit have weapons, but they just weren't able to get anything moving on the ground. Jameer gave 68 yards and a TD, which is serviceable, but just not enough. And then if you look at their receiving core, Amon-Ra St. Brown managed to get over 100 yards off of
But
13 receptions, but it still wasn't enough.
do you know what I'll predicate that on? Jared Goff threw the ball 53 times. If he throws the ball 53 times, it's likely that Amon-Ra got thrown the ball 19 times in this game.
Yep.
But nothing was more than 15 yards. Right? They couldn't get any chunk plays. Now, he got sacked 5 times. That defensive line for the Ravens had their way with that. Much better. Like, the Detroit Lions' offensive line is much improved, right?
Yep.
Compared to how it used to be.
They're one of the best lines in the league.
But I want to highlight a player on their defensive side who's in a contract year. Justin Madubuike. 5.5 sacks on the season already, and a forced fumble in 7 games. He's having... He only has 14 sacks in his career. He's got 5.5 this season. Boy is balling out.
Yeah. Guy's playing really well right now.
Like, he's playing really well. And you look at, like, their line. So they had Cole Van Noy have a couple of sacks. Owe, who's come back into the team, had a sack and a forced fumble. They're getting to the quarterback. The defense is playing well. We know that Ravens have always got a good defense. So I think we just need to see more. They need to keep it going. And maybe, I'd say the Ravens are, they're in charge of the AFC North anyway, so I don't see
upward trajectory for sure.
they're in the on the right trajectory indeed. All right. Next up, there's a certain player in the league who has a certain famous girlfriend. Now the stats of him when that person who shall not be named is in attendance versus not in attendance. His stats are ridiculous. Now, this guy, Travis Kelce, obviously is the man who we're talking about. In this game, he had 179 yards and a touchdown off 12 receptions. But his stats versus the Chargers in general are ridiculous. Every time he plays the Chargers, he goes to town.
Yep.
Well, that's his favorite opponent, clearly. Yeah. And he gets motivated to play them.
Yep.
But I think she who shall not be named has nothing to do with how Travis is performing. Because think about it.
Is it just coincidence then? It's coincidence, right?
I kind of think it is, because at the end of the day, I just feel like he is their most consistent weapon on offense, technically. Because, for example, if Tyreek was there, he wouldn't have had 12 receptions. He would have probably get 8 receptions, 10 receptions maybe. Because I think at the moment, he's the most reliable target for Patrick Mahomes. And he's sort of like unguardable. There's not many safeties that could guard Travis Kelce in the open field. And also, last Sunday was National Titans Day, so he was about to go off. You knew that was coming.
All right, so shall I tell you the stat difference? He averages 99 yards per game with her in attendance and 46.5 yards per game without her in attendance.
Okay, so the prior seasons where he didn't have her and he was breaking the tight end records.
I'm talking about this year only, because previous years he had other receivers in the team.
All I'm saying that, like, if you're an analyst, you might. It depends. Like, if this happens a few more times, I would legit, because you know how analytic guys are in the NFL, right? Some of these guys live and breathe this stuff.
It's light-hearted. It's light-hearted, right? We're not being serious here.
Yeah, analytic guys will be like, you know what? We need to get her in the stadium because our tight end plays incredibly well. Like, and if the statistics show up, all they need is the rest of the
All
season
right,
as a sample size.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question, right? When you were young, like when we were younger, if you knew that a special someone was in attendance, did you play harder?
I mean, if I wasn't
Most likely.
already,
Right?
okay. Here's the thing: they must be.
We're
They're
not professional athletes, but like
they're not professional athletes. But all I'm saying is, if she's already your partner, then it's just business as usual. But
if it's the
you're
early beginnings
if
or
you're
you want to
early
impress,
beginnings, or you're dating, or you're still courting, then you might do a little bit more. You might, you know what I mean. So this might be an actual thing, but this is just obviously happening
we're
on a
having a joke.
massive NFL scale.
Yeah. Right.
Do you
So
know the funny thing?
he's running
With
a
all
bit
this
up.
analytics, right? The Chiefs next game, are they away or they're home? Who they playing week 8?
They are playing the Broncos. Oh God.
Away or
Mile
home?
high. Mile high.
A mile high. If I'm Sean Payton, I'll make sure that she who shall not be named don't get a ticket to that stadium. She is not getting a ticket.
Do you know who's
Oh,
making
don't
sure they
worry.
get a ticket?
The Swifties
The
will smuggle them
NFL.
in.
The NFL, because they care about the numbers. Have you seen that?
They'll smuggle it in.
Listen.
Have you seen the ratings
Listen,
amongst
I
that
get the
demographic?
ratings. I
They
get
don't care about
everything.
anything else.
Yes, I get it.
They just see dollar signs in their eyes.
Listen, if I'm Sean Payton on her way to the stadium, I'm putting whatever roadblocks I'm making sure she's late to the game. She only attends the fourth quarter of the game. Anything I can do to stop her not being in attendance.
But the Broncos want to lose, don't they? Because they're a terrible team.
Yeah.
But all right, that's enough about that subject. That was a little bit of a light-hearted nonsense. All right, baller of the week.
AJ, I'm gonna go first with this one. I have to go with my Eagles. AJ Brown had a hell of a game. And yeah, no, it's one pick, but he kind of basically put himself back in that picture because right now, like you have your top 5 receivers, but with the way he's playing, and I think a lot of other people have realized that what, this guy's one of the best in the league right now. Easily a top 3 guy. When it's time to play, he can play. He just had
he
a
ain't
hell of a
top 3.
game.
He's top 5.
Yeah. Whatever, Pete. You know what's fine. You can have your opinion.
He ain't top 3 now.
We're talking about receivers or wide receivers because there's two different things.
Wide receivers.
Tyreek,
he just had an amazing game. He had an amazing game and an amazing catch as well. And
wait, okay, so let me ask: Is he better than Justin Jefferson?
No.
For us, yeah.
No.
I would take him over Justin Jefferson.
No,
he's not better than Justin Jefferson as a receiver. He's not. But for our team, he
okay.
Is he better than in your team? You'd be disgusting.
Exactly. Is he better than Devontae Adams?
No, he's not because there's a reason he's not even. Because he's not been throwing the ball.
Is he better than Cooper Kupp?
No.
He's not better than Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, but I'm
he's not better than Tyreek.
I'm dissecting things here. I'm literally saying as a pure receiver. I'm saying as an overall wideout. If you're talking like pure receiver, like I'm talking.
I'm talking about wide receiver. The position, is he better than any of those guys? He's not better than Cooper Kupp. He's not better than Justin Jefferson. He's not better than Tyreek. He's not better than. He's just outside that level, and he needs to break into it.
I think he's 5.
Yeah, I think he's on that level.
Top 3 right now.
Not as a pure receiver. Like I'm very nitpicky. Like he's a possession receiver.
And to be honest, even if you're talking about guys against the ball, Kelce's above that. So,
wow, way to go to like dump my arguments.
No,
I see both of you guys with a hammer coming in like, no.
Look,
relevant.
Listen, I'll personally put him top 5, but he's 5.
We're digressing here, right?
Yeah.
So he played very well this week.
Yeah.
He was a big difference maker in this game, so I don't mind that as a pick. Peter, who's your baller of the week? Because I'm going to be controversial with mine.
Okay, my ball of the week. I'm a defensive guy. And sorry to do this to you, Adele, but Miles Garrett.
That's who I was going to actually pick as my real pick, but you've already done it, so you've done that.
He bossed that game.
Well, yeah, he did boss that game, and my pick is the men in black and white, the zebras, because I'm still mad. I will be mad. Sport has not treated me well the last couple of days.
Oh, last thing before we move on about Miles Garrett, right? So when he blocked that field goal, right, they made a reference to some of his training in the off season.
Do you know what I would have done? Do you know what I would have done?
When he was making the box jumps. Those box jumps show that it translates onto the field.
Do you know what I would have done as a lineman? Do you know what I would have done as a lineman? Do you know what I would have done as a lineman? Do anything to draw contact, because the moment he draws contact, it's a 15-yard penalty.
What did you know he was going to jump?
Did look up. Oh, it's Miles Garrett. Dink. Oh no! You know, like
no, but he do you
know what it remind me of? Like Chris Paul yesterday in the NBA. He just went ding, ding, yeah, I think who was it against? It was against Kevin Durant, and they were 1-1, and Chris Paul's tiny in comparison, and Kevin Durant gave him a forearm, and just Chris Paul just went. Just like falling straight to the ground. But yeah, those are our balls of the week. Play of the week. Is there only one? Now, there are multiples, right? Well, who's your one? Is it the same as the one that we're all going to say?
Pretty much.
Jordan Addison.
I don't see how. Like he had an amazing game, and it was a coming out party for him because, like I said, he was a.
So he had one stolen. He had an interception stolen on him, and then he stole an interception. And not only did he steal that interception, he took it to the house.
Yep, that's my play of the week.
That is our play of the week.
Listen, shame to whoever that safety is as a defensive guy. Every receiver should never take the ball out of your hands. You meant to be stronger, bro.
This is me doing the Game of Thrones shame. We should superimpose that on a clip. But honorable mention, Michael Pittman. Because that was a bad man. That was a bad man touchdown.
It was a bad man.
He took it to the house.
But he took it whilst like running through a couple of tackles, which he's a big body dude. Unfortunately, we didn't win. All right, week 8 matchups. First of all, Cowboys, Rams. Well, this is your division. What do you think is the key here? Because Rams are coming off a chastening loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not expected to lose to them. Cowboys don't really do well against good teams.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I'm kind of looking at this. I'm kind of looking at this as like a litmus test to see who the Rams are. So if the Cowboys beat them, then they're a bad team. If they beat the Cowboys, then they're an average team. So
do you know what do you know how much?
This is what it is.
Cowboys are 7-point favorites. This is not even supposed to be close.
Yeah, I would say that's like really underestimating the Rams. Like, don't get me wrong, they haven't played well, but they do have. I mean, this week alone, both what's his name, Puka Nacua, he played really well, and obviously you do have your guy back in Cooper Kupp. Either one of those guys can eat, so I think they can definitely cause problems, and that it's definitely to win this game. Dallas is going to have to score 24 and over.
Now, one thing I'll say is there's an interesting stat. Puka Nacua's target share with and without Cooper Kupp. There's no difference. It's within 1%.
So it's basically, that's really good to see though, because if both of those
Yeah,
guys,
I mean,
that's the dream scenario for
I
them.
mean, last week against the Steelers, Puka was the go-to guy at 8 for 154, and Cup had 2 for 29. So it was more like they went to Puka and Nakwamba. But I don't know if the coverage was very tight on Cooper Cup, in terms of how the Steelers play defense. But
It's going to be fun
for this
where
Rams and Cowboys game,
Gilmore, where he's going to
Yeah.
be with regards to the receivers.
exactly. I mean, the Rams should have a degree of success against the Cowboys, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams won the game in the end. But for me, the biggest thing for me, and I keep looking for every week, is when is Micah gonna give us that statement game? Because for me, I mean, I know he's super talented. I know he has generational traits or generational ability, but give us that,
They came up.
takeover
So
game.
would the ideal game be just coming off the bye?
That's what I'm saying. So in this Rams game, the Rams they have a good offensive line. They don't have like elite offensive line with elite tackles in this game. So could you show up and give me 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, something like that? Because each significant defensive edge rusher that's been put in the bracket of defensive player of the year has significant plays. Bosa last year had games whereby he dominated. This year, Myles Garrett has stated his case and have had a dominant game last week. Against the Rams, that the Steelers, the key reason why they won was TJ Watt. Remember, he had an interception that led to a point straight away. And he's an outside. He's a pass rusher that dropped off and managed to get a pick. So my question is, we keep hearing Micah. Give us a statement game, because every edge rusher within the same stratosphere as have all had significant games where they've taken games over.
So what I'll say is, you said this a couple of weeks ago. They haven't played yet, so let's see it happen. I'm gonna kind of keep it at that. Keys to the game, though, it's how those tandem wide receivers fare against the Cowboys defensively are good against the pass, but then they've also played against a lot of teams that can't pass the ball.
Yep.
So it's a litmus test, I think, for both sides. Now, we don't know what's happening with regards to the Rams and the running attack, because God knows who's going to be running the ball. It could be Royce Freeman, could be Darrell Henderson again, could be Evans, it could be...
I think it'll be a mixture of the two. But Darrell
it could be
well.
some bloke that they'll find on the freeway. I don't know, because that's how... I feel
the Rams potentially could have beaten the Steelers had they had Kyren Williams playing, because he was their guy, and then he just got injured after that great game against the Cardinals, which was unfortunate. But
he was averaging 4.5 yards a carry up until that point.
He was really good. So we'll see how this game. I mean, the Cowboys, I think the Rams have an angle here. If they can run the football and commit heavily to the run game, they have a chance to beat them, because that's how my Cardinals beat the Cowboys. And the biggest key is, and I think the Rams will probably do this, run at Micah, because Micah Parsons can't stop the run when you run directly at him.
Generally, like in passing plays as well, you always run at blitzing. People are like, you always run towards the blitzing side, because then it leaves a hole.
If you can identify it, so if you can mark, if the defensive coordinator
it's not even that. Well, even if the Cowboys are not blitzing, which they will blitz, so you run to that side, like Dilly said, I agree with you. But also, even if they're not blitzing, you're calling it the normal run game. Focus on running on Micah's side. The reason why certain teams are doing that is because until Micah proves don't run here, they will. Because think about it, when teams plays Aaron Donald, you wouldn't dare run to his side. You wouldn't dare run to TJ Watt's side. You're not gonna run at Myles Garrett. You're not going to do that. And Micah needs to start developing that you can't run here. Until then, they'll keep running
play the ball on the other side of the ball. Like, go
exactly. And I feel like when you play for the Cowboys, right, because every little thing that you do gets hyped up, as a good and and a generational player, you could get lost in the sauce. Pun intended. No pun intended. You could get lost in the sauce. But what I'm saying is that Micah needs to start rising above that hype and stop the podcast, Micah, and just dial down, conquering, go back to your fundamentals, and stop teams from running at you.
He's literally becoming.
I love the dude, but he's not playing like I want him to play.
Peter, you're becoming an old man because this is a new age and players have podcasts nowadays. So just gonna have to learn to live with it. All right.
Hey, one thing I'll say about Micah is Micah's gonna get real bitter when he's not winning championships.
Wait. Hold on.
Jerry's not gonna let him go.
Myles Garrett, Nick Bosa, all pros, elite players, they don't have podcasts, and people don't run at their side. That's all I gotta say.
They're older.
Not by much though.
Enough.
2-3 years.
Poor Micah Parsons. Jerry's
I love the dude, though. I'm not saying I don't. I love the dude. Listen, this is not.
You just want to see a little bit more focus during the regular season.
More focus and more teams being fearful of attacking your side. That's all. Make sure wherever you line up, they just think, let's stay away from Micah, otherwise he's gonna ruin our game today.
All right.
And yeah,
let's move on. Cardinals Ravens could be the battle of the Speedy Gonzalez. So I call it.
Could be.
The battle of a running back. Not the running backs. The fast men at quarterback. Let's say the Cardinals have Kyler. Could you guys have an upset in this game, or is your team just not good enough and you're just going to get run all over?
If Kyler plays, we still wouldn't win, but we could make the game competitive.
Well, you always make it competitive.
Yeah, but the reason why I say we could make it competitive is because, okay, so think about it. When we played the earlier rounds of the 49ers, it ended up not being competitive because they won by multiple scores. So those two games were competitive in the first half. By the second half, they blew us over and won the game. And that's because Dobbs typically didn't perform in the second half. Now, if we have K1 back, and let's say he is good and doesn't show a lot of rustlers, because think about it, he hasn't played football in a long time now. He missed a lot of preseason, even though he took mental reps and that kind of thing. So it's also when you get back on the field, how you perform as well. So he might not be at his absolute best, but I believe that when opportunities are there for Kelce to take advantage of, he will better than Dobbs will. So that also is also another significant point in this game. So in terms of upset, I don't really see the Cardinals upset. And even with him being a full participant today in practice, one thing I also read from some of the reporters that he was practicing with the second team, essentially. So let's see towards the week if he starts getting reps with the first team. That confirms that
Kyler?
He's aligned to play. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Even though he's a full participant.
If he was with the second team, then...
yeah, the second team went out.
Yeah, I doubt it.
So it depends.
So smoke screen sort of might be something to put the other team off.
That's also another possibility. So it depends. So let's say they practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So tomorrow and Friday's reports will let us know if he's in line to play. But I preface it by saying that if Kyler plays, the Cardinals will be more competitive, especially in the second half of the game, than they have been in previous weeks. The Ravens are just too powerful, and I don't see an upset if we play the Ravens with Kyler. If it's Dobbs, then it's a blow up. If it's with Kyler starting, then it's competitive, close game. Ravens will still win because they've got a much better talented roster. I mean, that defensive line, they have the second best defense or whatever, so it's vicious. And even if Kyler plays, I just hope he protects himself a lot more. The good news that I like about Kyler is that I've seen all these practice videos and pictures, and he's not wearing a knee brace. When Joe Burrow came back, he was. So that could be something.
All right. Speaking of Joe Burrow, facing the 49ers, Will, is Joe Burrow going to beat the 49ers and Sam Darnold? He's going to stick a third loss in a row.
I don't think Brock Purdy's been playing poorly. But I don't think Sam Darnold is that much of a drop off, really. If anything, I think he's got better arm talent.
Blasphemous.
Chucky
If
Truther.
anything,
He's
if
a Chucky
anything,
Truther.
if anything, I think he's got better arm talent. And I
Blasphemous.
think they should be able to sort of keep the ball rolling. But like I said, it's just going to be a case of how much of that offense is going to change to sort of suit what Sam Darnold does. Because obviously he doesn't get first team reps.
Well, he
You
is
know,
getting first
quick
team reps
question,
this
Will.
week,
getting
so
first team reps this week.
that's
But I
definitely
don't.
going to be the case.
That being
Why
said,
don't you rate Brock Purdy?
I'm not saying I don't rate him. I'm just saying
He's making rookie errors this year.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that I'm not
Oh,
saying I
well,
don't rate.
the last
I
couple of
think Brock
games, the last
Purdy
couple of
is
games,
better
not
than
this year.
Sam
The last.
Darnold right now. But what I'm saying is I don't think the play from Brock Purdy to Sam Darnold is that much of a drop off as far as
What the higher level?
remember,
Like
this is the first time we're seeing Sam Darnold in the Mike Shanahan offense, like directly on the field. What if he goes out there and he goes on a tear, and then everyone is like, "Oh wow, Sam Darnold can play." I mean, that might happen, and I have a sneaky suspicion it will. But it's still going to be hard to beat Cincinnati. You know, it's not going to be an easy game. This is one of those games where if Sam Donald was to get the start and play, he probably would want it against someone else. The Bengals right now are sort of flailing, so they're gonna play.
Well, no, they had a better game.
off.
They finally figured out that Jamar Chase is the number one wide receiver, and throwing the ball nicely, he will catch it.
Force feed him the ball.
But the 49ers on the back end aren't that great.
Yeah, true.
They're great up to the linebackers, and then beyond that, in the secondary, they aren't fantastic. But it's whether that offensive line of the Bengals can keep Burrow upright. They can't keep him upright. It's gonna be a long day because Nick Bosa could have his way with that Bengals O-line. So that's my key to the game.
That's true. And Nick Bosa is due. His sack numbers have been low.
That's because they've been game managing. The entire time, they're he's not always needed to be on the field, right?
How's Cincinnati's run defense? Do you think McCaffrey's going to be back?
I mean,
well, McCaffrey played this week.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Okay. So they're basically just going to run behind Trent. They're going to run behind Trent.
Trent didn't play though, did he? So
no.
No, but is Debo back though? That's a big key.
I think Debo is going to be out another week at least.
Yeah, but I think they can run
because if they had Debo, their run game would be explosive. Because remember a couple of years ago they had a running back, but Debo's runs from the backfield was also a big key.
Yeah, I mean, I think Chauncey Gardner did say Deebo Samuels is not a wide receiver, anyways.
Oh, he's a running back.
So yeah, no, I mean that's gonna be one of those things.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Quick check. Keep talking. I just want to check. Is the 49ers gonna play the Lions at any point this year? I would love for that to be a game this year.
That would be an amazing matchup, but I don't think.
But Chauncey Gardner got in. He's done for the season, isn't he? So
yeah, they're not gonna play, but that would have been a hell of a matchup, and I think that's a battle we need to see.
They could still play.
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
They could still
playoffs. That would be nice.
If that happens, that will be a good matchup. That's going to be one of those where there's probably going to be a fight before the game.
No, have you heard what's happening now?
Well, they putting
the league is clamping down now.
They're gonna start ejecting players prior to the game.
Oh, okay.
And suspending players.
Just happen before they get to the stadium, then. But yeah, no, that's going to be an interesting one.
So you're predicting Mean Machine and Green Street kind of organize meet up?
Yeah, I mean Chauncey Gardner. I mean, he's always been like this as a player. Like we've seen videos where other players have like attacked him on the field, and he's always been like his hands up, like I haven't done anything wrong. Like this guy's crazy. Ref,
All right.
suspend him. But now we're starting to see that no, this is what Chansey does. He always gets in people's heads.
49ers need to win this game, otherwise it's a serious slide. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback.
Yep.
They have to win. All right, Thursday night football game. Bucks, who need a win against Bills, need to stop the slide because they've lost 2 and 3.
I honestly don't know here, man. Because if the Bills we all know show up, then they're going to win this game. But we just don't know what version of the Buffalo Bills we're going to get.
The mad thing is they're 9-point favourites, but
it just depends what version of the Bills you get.
I really don't know which Bills are going to turn up.
Yeah, literally.
That's the thing, because the Bills are like the Jekyll and Hyde of the season, you know. And these two teams are now at the point in the season where I call the crossroads point of the season for these teams. You know, when you're 4-3, just about 500, and you're 3-3, you're 500. You guys are in the position of the season whereby this matchup is pivotal, because if the Bills win, they start getting on the upward trajectory of, okay, we've won, let's get our confidence back and let's keep on stacking these wins. The Bucks also need a win to be able to kind of get ahead and keep trying to win their division. Last week against the Falcons, I was disappointed in the Bucks offense a little bit because at how they couldn't win that game, because Desmond Ridder is awful at quarterback, and the Falcons had no business winning that game.
Do you know why I say this is really, really important? The Bills. They played the Bengals the week after in Cincinnati, right? They play obviously they play the Jets again, and the Jets, their defense know how to clamp people down. And they stay in the game. They're scrappy. They've already beaten them. This season. You know, the first game of the season, the Jets won. And then they play the Eagles in Philadelphia in week 12.
So in a way, the way I see it, the Bills need this win more than the Bucks, because the Bucks could still win their division even with this loss.
So week 12, week 14, and week 15, they play the Eagles away, the Chiefs away, and the Cowboys at home. Those are their 3 games in a row. That is not a fun stretch. Okay,
so here's the deal. Because of the schedule, the Bills need to do something for me here. To keep maintaining, they gotta go get Derrick Henry, because the Titans are open to trade. Go get him.
Do you know who the rumor for Derrick Henry is?
What, Vikings?
No, the Ravens.
That would be a good addition, but I'd rather he goes to the Bills.
Can you imagine how disgusting the Ravens would be?
That's a Super Bowl move. The Ravens do that.
That would be a Super Bowl move. Because they've got a punishing runner right there. That would be a Super Bowl.
Because the reason why I'm saying
we have 5 days left. We have 5 days left.
That would be insane. Can you imagine run past option, and a defender has to pick and second guess Derrick Henry might not get the ball, and if you let Derrick Henry you second guess, he's breaking every tackle. That's too much. You can't that's the craziest read option I've ever seen, because usually it's a speed guy, and you're like, well, that's fine. We'll eventually get him.
But he is a speed guy.
Yeah, he isn't. So it's and a power guy. So it's literally like I can't. They're gonna get so many penalties to help them, because they're just gonna tackle both the players, including the quarterback who's not carrying the ball, and they're gonna be like unnecessary roughness on Lamar. It's just it's almost unfair. It's almost unfair. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we have it. Bills need to win this game. Bucks, they need to win it as well. They need to stem the flow, because they've lost. So, granted, you look at who they've lost to this season. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to the Lions. The Lions play well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they pooped again, bed against the Falcons. But you look at, they've got the Bills, Texans, Titans. Actually, if you look at their schedule, one out of the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, they've got 6 on the road. But Bills, Titans, Texans, Titans, 49ers. So they need at least 2 wins out of the next 3. You'd expect it's going to be the Titans and the Texans that they would beat. But if they could win all 3, then they've got the 49ers and the Colts. Like, you look at the rest of their schedule, it's a little bit softer. So after the 49ers, after the 49ers and the Colts, it's a little bit softer. So, that would leave them in good stead as to getting into the playoffs at the end of the season.
Chance. Yeah.
But there's not too much on that. Aside from that, there's one thing I wanted to point out. Not in a game that we're talking about, but I think that Sam Howell may break the record this season of how many times he's going to get sacked.
Poor guy. Yeah. And they were singing from the rafters for this kid.
Have you seen how many times it doesn't can he do anything about? He has been sacked. He has been sacked on at least 4 times in every game.
See, the thing is that I saw an article recently that was breaking down the sacks that he's taken. Some of it's on the offensive line, but also some of it's because he's showing to hold the ball a bit long.
I think what it is, the wide receivers are not getting open.
What some of them do, like Terry McLaurin, does a good job of separating, and also Curtis Samuel has been a bit good in of getting the ball.
I think Jahan Dotson hasn't been as good this season as I expected.
Yeah, but at least you got 2 that consistently try and get open. But also, I think part of it is also the fact that his pocket presence is not there at the moment, and it's something that he's going to have to work through this season, maybe next off season. It's one of the areas of development for him because he does have an issue of how do I navigate the pocket, which can be developed. It's not like I'm saying that he can't correct that. He will. So he sounds like the type of person that would do that, but at the moment is causing issues.
So if you look at 12.5% of pass attempts last week, he was sacked on. 1 in 8. The week before was 17%.
Part of it is pocket presence. I think at the moment he doesn't have it right now.
Although against the Bills, it was 24%. So 1 in every 4 dropbacks he was sacked on because he was sacked 9 times in that game. But but he's only fumbled the ball twice, so he is holding on to the ball despite getting sacked a ridiculous amount. Anyway, that is us done for this week, and it's goodbye from myself, goodbye from Peter, goodbye from Will. I realise I'm pointing because in our recording software they're in different directions, but they're all that way on screen. They're all to my right on the recording. But it's goodbye from us, and we'll catch you all next week on the next show.